Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your November forecast. We're going to see what is up for you this month as we have some really nice changes going on as well. Now, last month we did have a little bit of an audio problem, which I don't think we shall be seeing this month. That was a big blooper. So sorry about that. But hey, the sun is now moving through the sign of Scorpio, and for you, that means that the sun is working behind the scenes. Over here in your 12th house, you'll see how that is operating, meaning that this month it's important for you to look at your deeper thoughts. It's all the subconsciousness. It's that spiritual energy as well. The 12th house is ruled by Pisces, so it's extremely creative, very psychic. It's really that attunement to your higher self, listening within, messages that come to you, and also look at your dreams, not just the nocturnal dreams, but the dreams that you may have as visions and so forth that can behoove you now when the sun will move over your horizon here and into your first house next month. Now, we also do have a new moon in this area. And right down here, you'll see I noted it as November 15th, 23 degrees in Scorpio. So the new moons, as we always talk about, it's so important. It's not just a beautiful vision on the sky, but the new moon is planting the seed for the coming month. It's the time when we place our intentions, right? And I get this question a lot about, well, why doesn't the power of manifestation work for me? Well, you could have had all of your intentions all over the map, right? All over your chart. And that won't bring a lot of gravity to what it is you're trying to manifest. If you want instant positive manifestation, right? By the law of attraction, you have to know where your new moon is. That is where the energy is for it to come in and capture. So what should your intentions be? Well, at least on top of the list as your best priority over here, new moon, is to think about, how do I want to manifest my dreams? How can I become more intuitive, inspired, creative? How can I get into that deep, passionate side of myself? And it's, since Scorpio is in your 12th house, you have that very, very deep connection to your passions. But sometimes, you might hide it. It's not necessarily in the background, but it is in your 12th house, right? So if you're really wanting your passions to resurrect and rise, then this is the top of your priorities this month. Not only for this month, because let me tell you that secret that not a lot of people really realize. They're only thinking the new moon is only good for the upcoming month to the next new moon, which, by the way, will be in your sign in December. But it has the power to manifest this for you over the next 12 months. Look at your chart here. It will start here. You will carry that seed around your chart for the next 12 months. What are you going to be carrying around? A ton of passion. That deep, scorpion, beautiful passion that you can take out in so many areas of your life. Passion isn't just a physical thing. It's also an emotional thing. It's also a spiritual and very, very creative and psychic thing too. All the things that Pisces represent, all the things that Scorpio represent, this can be yours for the next 12 months. So do make sure that you have that in your mind. Take a little time off on the 15th to focus on those areas, and you will see that that power of attraction will be yours this month. All right. So while we're talking about the moons, let's talk about the harvest moon, which is the full moon, 8 degrees here in Gemini. This is in your partnership area, Sagittarius. And so, of course, we were just talking about passion and those things, how romantic the Pisces are and how deep physically the Scorpions can be. That is your dream. Now we're looking at that full moon. You can already come to experience something very divine in your relationships from that new moon on the 15th, right here on November 30th, okay? And it being in the sign of Gemini, it could be, you know how they say when it rains, it pours, right? So because Gemini is dual, right? So you might have something going on here that might surprise you, but I do see that communication, Gemini is also all about communication. It will be communicating about love and feelings and how do we balance our relationship. The 7th house is a Libra house, so we always want to think balance in relationship. But it is a time to communicate what you're feeling, you know, and what you're receiving and giving that back. That is everything. 7th house, how you interact one-on-one with people very close to you. That could be your significant other, but it could also be partners, anyone that you work closely with. This is where this is going to land for you. Really happy to see that. I think that is great. Now, we do have Mercury retrograde until November 4th. Look down, where do we have it? Right here. This retrograde has then been operating for 3.5 weeks. So if you're listening to this on the October side of this reading, do know where it is operating. The 11th house is all about our social network, our hopes, our dreams, our friendships, circle of whatever it is that you're interacting with. This is an area where there could come some miscommunications, misunderstandings, all of those things where Mercury is doing its little loopsy, right? And need to be created down the road in a new way, different way, if something has gone haywire. Venus is there as well, you know, so both of them are going to be very present in your life here in November. And because it takes a little time for Mercury, once it wakes up and goes direct there, on the 4th, you'll see it right down here. I've written it. So give it another week, 10 days before you can really trust that Mercury's up and running and communication is now again restored. Now, travel, if anybody's traveling, you can come to experience maybe some delays and so forth. Any kind of little hiccups. It's never a good time to buy anything new, especially not anything that has moving parts, you know, or any electronics, you know. Don't buy a new computer, a laptop, or anything like that. We just don't want it to have to return it and send it back because something is not working, right? But do be careful with your emotional communications up to that point, because Venus is there too. So I'm thinking that this is a very social month for you, and especially right now when we've had COVID and everybody has had to have their social distancing and so forth for a long time. But Venus might just open the door for more interaction with friends, circle of friends. And it's so joyful because Venus just loves, loves, loves. And it's in the sign that it rules. And so, of course, maybe you're going to feel that there is a little bit of a release from that. Love that. And next, we're going to take a look at Mars, which is your energy, your goals, your dynamic focus. Mars is that oomph energy that gets us up and going and being goal-oriented. And for you, there's news this month because it has been retrograde for months. If you feel that there has been a slowdown in your life, even if you've been putting forth all that energy, it's like treading water, getting nowhere, and that can be very exhausting, right? So straight through summer into autumn here, that slowdown is now going to wake up here in your 5th house, Sagittarius. And for you, what is that? The 5th house is all about joy, leisure time, creativity, self-expression, being on the up and go and moving ahead, and it being in the sign of Aries, as you can see here, well, it rules Aries. And Aries is the initiator. It's the first one in the front line, right? And I think this is how you like to see yourself. You'll have a spontaneous thought. You'll act on it right away. Got to check it out, right? So if that has been a little heavy on you, well, just wait. It's coming back into your life. It's a divine energy to have. Maybe you've been thinking over a lot of the hobbies maybe that you have. Fifth house does rule hobbies, right? The creative talents and skills that you have. Maybe you've been giving a little bit more time to research, go back over older projects, kind of thinking, how could I tweak it? How can I renew this or that? So it hasn't been all bad, but it may not have launched. If you're thinking of wanting to launch something, you want Mars in a very good up and going rate, right? We want that speed to push it forward. So it hasn't been a time to launch anything, but it's been a great time to go back over what you've been working on in the past, and I can see how you've been tweaking it, making it even better. And this is why we need to learn how to appreciate our retrogrades. I love my retrogrades because it gives extended time to work on things, because when all the planets are moving forward directly, we're on it. We're boom, 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 boom. Right? Even when there's maybe a need to go back over certain things, we might not have time to do it. But this Mars in your fifth house, it's the house of fun, right? And so you've had extended time here. Normally it takes only 6 weeks to move through an area of your chart. 6 weeks. Mars here, 6 months due to this retrograde, right? So I'm thinking those of you who are exceptionally creative, this has, anyway, been a good time for you, but watch out. November 14th, I've written it down right here. It's going to move direct on the 14th. Give it a week, give it 14 days. It takes a little time to kind of speed up, meaning from next month, your birthday month, December, when we do your charts next month, we will talk more about it to see what energies it's receiving from the other planets. Then we have, lo and behold, our beloved little stellium there, which has been active all of 2020, all right? And that has to do with your money and income area. In spite of the lockdown, in spite of things being really heavy, you know, Saturn has those rings holding us back. A lot of people have been laid off or furloughed or whatnot. In spite of those challenges, what I see, it's also been expanding. Somehow, one way or another, it's been expanding your ability to generate and create more money. Look at Jupiter right over here, right? And Jupiter is always very generous. It comes around to this area of your chart only once every 12 years. It's here now, and you really want to milk that cow while you can. Jupiter is asking you to look at your talents and skills. How can you expand, not just locally, right? Jupiter rules international liaisons and so forth. And so some of you might have started your own business. And being a Sagittarius, you have vision. That is what you do best. You have vision. And so for that, you've been able to kind of really angle in on how to create a new foundation, which is Saturn. Saturn right here. It's been with you now for 2 years. It's only got 4 more degrees to go before it's going to change signs. More than 2 years. It's actually been there 2.5 years soon. And what is transforming all of this? This slowdown, the lockdown, the pressure, all of your questions of, oh my God, now what? Where do I go from here? I lost my job. You know, it's made you think. You've really had to go deep and purge. That's what Pluto does best. It purges. It might tear everything down because it rules death and rebirth, right? The death of the old patterns, and new patterns to be generated, to be rebuilt, stronger than ever. And I say that, why? Not only because Pluto in itself is super strong, but because it has the guests of Jupiter and Saturn. Saturn all about foundation, security for the long term. We're talking long term. Because why? Saturn takes 28.5 years to go around the chart once before it's going to relocate back into your income sector, right? So Saturn is what is trying to teach us how to master. Your focus has been, the lesson has been, challenge has been, how do I make my money? What works, what doesn't work? What can I improve? What can I make better? Some things have gone and been moved out. Other things are coming in and allowing you to find a better ground for how to generate a more secure income. Pluto rules money, and so does Jupiter, more than what Venus does. We always think Venus rules love and money, right? But Jupiter is big money, and Pluto can be very transformatively coming in with money. So I'm happy to see that these now are all moving direct. Okay, so they have been retrograde. That's why it's been taking nearly all of 2020 till now, because it's moving back and forth, right? Kind of giving you time to adjust, time to think, time to download, time to envision and expand. But now as they're moving forward, they're going to be moving out of there. And of course, Saturn, not yet, will be moving into your third house, all about communication and so forth, siblings and technology, actually, because we got Aquarius, but that's not quite yet. Jupiter will get there first. And so we'll talk about that when we get there. So you have to subscribe to get these notifications when they come up. That's a major shift. We all know how 2020 is working for right now, right? Then we'll move on to Uranus. Uranus is also bringing news to us this month. Now, Uranus, we gotta love that planet. It's the planet of change. Now, this change can be for better or worse. Normally, it is all for good, depending on how you're seeing it, what perception you have from a higher source to look at why changes come. Sometimes we create them by ourselves. Sometimes changes just come upon us like a lightning bolt, right? And then, whoopsie, here we go. Now, for you, it's all been about your sixth house of your day-to-day routine. So you might have seen how your routines have been changing up. Touch and go. Not necessarily a consistency. Whenever this planet is touched by good aspects, we have all the good changes coming in, opening up not just doors, but also windows of opportunity. And then when it's aspected a little bit more in a challenging way, well, then things can suddenly change for the worse, too. So, I mean, this planet is like a wild card. It has been retrograde for quite a few months. It is going direct here towards the end here in November 29th, okay? So if you feel that your routine has been a little bit kind of slow and heavy, which again, we can say it's COVID's fault, right? But it is definitely going to be bringing up some speed where you can move ahead, be a little bit more in control of your day-to-day routine, your work days, how you interact with coworkers as well. But then I also want to mention it. It does rule the area, sixth house here of health, okay? So you might see there's changes, whether it comes to your diets or whether it is you're wanting to go to the gym, lose a little weight, or just trim up some muscles. And I think we could all agree that we've all put on some extra COVID weight these months. But for you, yes, whatever you change there, I think it's also an awareness of what we intake into our bodies as far as nutrients and so forth, that can only come to behoove you in the long run. So I would say that with, as we're closing out here, we got Neptune, long-term transit in your fourth house. Okay, so that has to do with home, family, security. It's you building this foundation, your foundation of life now over these years, and I say years because it's a slow transit, is all about how you want to build, create, and expand this area of your life, your home and security, in a very artistic way, in a very spiritual way, because this is where Neptune is influencing you to start seeing things from higher levels, other dimensions, not just the 3D, but really kind of opening up to who we are on the inside in this foundation, where we're opening up more so to our 5D selves, fifth dimensional selves. So your dreams, of course, over this transit for these years have been becoming deeper, clearer, more astral dreams and so forth, out-of-body experiences. So some of you have already gone through it because it's already gone near 2/3 of your sign or your house here. It's 18 degrees. So those of you that are earlier in the sign, you've metaphysically, spiritually changed over these last 3 or 4 years. The rest of you who can't recognize or resonate with this message, listen, you will be having it in the next couple of years, seeing how that you are so much more than what you think you are. That is such a blessing that's coming to you. So listen, I would suggest go listening to your partner's chart to see what she or he will be having coming up in this month, where his or her retrograde Mercury will be, because it won't be in the same place here as yours, and see what that can do for you, and to see where that new moon is so that you know where their intentions should be for that positive manifestation, right? So I will see you next month, and of course you can listen to your moon and rising sign reading and forecast as well, which gives you your dynamic outgoing read of the month and also your very emotional read of the month. That's what those two charts represent for you. This is your solar chart. So Sagittarius, have a blessed month. I will see you there in December. Bye now.